Hey, what's up, and welcome to QnA, the show where I take your questions and answer them here in video format. Ton of questions to get into today, so we're just going to jump right into it. We got the first question here from William Zinn, who says, is it possible next year during the live watch parties to give a little bit more play-by-play? I live in Oklahoma. Sometimes due to church, I couldn't watch, so I kept up with the game through you. Now, there's a fine balance that I have to do legally with the games, right? I know there are some people who do straight like play by play. Me personally, I there's a little bit of a risk, right? And when you start to do full play by play for a game that you do not have the broadcast rights for, you are breaking copyright law. And the NFL can go after you for that because what you are essentially doing is rebroadcasting the game without the permission. That's textbook piracy. So when I do these watch parties, it is a little bit of a copyright gray area when it comes to the league and their IP, and this is all stuff that's fair from their point. And I have to be able to balance that, right? Like I'm going to react to some things. I have to try to do some play-by-play for like some key moments, but I have to be real careful. There just are laws and rules about what you can or cannot do when it comes to reacting to the NFL or any sport that you do not have broadcast rights for, especially like a major entity, right? Like if this were like if I were talking about like Youngstown State football, I don't think anybody would have a beef with me if I did direct play-by-play with that. But when it comes to like the Browns, a Browns game, if I start to do play-by-play, and I've seen others do it, nobody that's like at my channel size and bigger do it, because you can get in real trouble legally by just getting caught doing straight up play by play. So I'll try to give more information, more context. I have to be careful with how I do it. So if you ever notice that sometimes I'll be doing play by play and I stop myself during those live streams, it's not because I'm being lazy. It's because I have to be cognizant that I'm not allowed to do that. That's not okay, right? The NFL has exclusive contracts. NFL teams have exclusive contracts with broadcasters. These broadcasters, they pay almost hundreds of millions of dollars for the rights, the exclusive rights to broadcast the game. If I come out here on my YouTube channel and start rebroadcasting the game, maybe the NFL doesn't come after me, but maybe they come after the platform as a whole. And if we get a crackdown when it comes to copyright from the NFL, it can destroy the whole scene. So it's something like that, right? Like this happens all the time on Twitch where people start like, some people on Twitch start watching like copyrighted TV shows, and then other people are like, hey, you're going to mess it up for everybody. This is one of those things with me. It's like, hey, look, I know some people do play-by-play. I don't want to do play-by-play just because I don't want to be a part of a problem where the NFL is going to come in and feel like they have to crack down on the entire platform about it. It seems minute right now, but if more people and bigger channels start doing a lot more play-by-play, we're all going to be in trouble because, again, this is a big part of the NFL's revenue strategy. And if they feel like we're encroaching on that by just going around them to provide play-by-play, that's going to get the whole NFL YouTube sphere in trouble. So I try to be mindful of that, right? I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt my cohorts when it comes to what we try to do for a living. And that's one of them. I want to address the criticism. I'll give more context and try to do what I can to add to the game if you can't watch it, even though this is kind of a stream that's designed for people who are watching the game and kind of want somebody else to watch the game with or want to add me into their group of people that they're watching the game with, right? That's kind of what that stream is designed for. It's not designed to replace play-by-play because, again, massively illegal, would be a massive violation of the NFL's broadcast rights, not something that I can do. A little bit inside baseball to start the show, but I wanted to highlight this because I get this question all the time and understand where it comes from. Some people can't get NFL Sunday Ticket. Some people can't get or afford the radio packages that they have for them. And I'm the only way that they keep up with the team. This is my YouTube channel. And sometimes it's frustrating because you want more from me. And I'm just trying to address that by saying, hey, in these situations, this is why you can't get straight up play-by-play from me during the game, because it would be a problem if I started doing it and more people started doing it, and the NFL caught wind of that. That would force a crackdown on the whole platform, and it could affect way more people than just myself. And I try to think of the whole more than myself when it comes to things like that, especially when it comes to other people's ways of making a living. So that's kind of why I refrain from doing play-by-play. I'll try to give you more in a way, but it can't be by straight up play-by-play. You know what I mean? Like that's just a place that I cannot go to, and it would not be legal for me to go to. The next question comes from Dr. Maggie, who says, do you think we should trade back from 13th to get an extra second-round pick and select a wide receiver from Alabama? He's the number one prospect when he's healthy, plus the extra second can get another target, as well as a defensive lineman early in the second. I'm team more picks. If this isn't a draft to me where the player at 13 is going to be that much different than the player at 26 and the player at 36. I think between those picks, right, 13 and 36 or 13 and 44, you can get two guys who are going to be about the same level of prospect. So the more picks you have in that range, right, from pick 13 to pick 15 in the second round, let's say, the better. This is a draft where you want that, right? Like the Philadelphia Eagles, I think they got like 3 picks in that area, or like 4 or 5, I think, actually, because they have like 3 first-round picks and they might have like 2 seconds. So that's where you want to be. I'm team more picks because, hey, look, the Browns' issues at wide receiver are not going to be solved by one player, even though I think Garrett Wilson's a really good wide receiver. I don't think he's going to solve all the Browns' problems. He's not Jamar Chase in that respect, right? And even with Jamar Chase, he had 2 other wide receivers, right? We talking about Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. Both of those dudes would be the Browns' 1 or 2 receiver guaranteed, and that's just what Cincinnati added to with Jamar Chase. We don't have that kind of a situation. We need to get guys that can just be serviceable at the starting spot, because again, it looks like we're going to move off of Jarvis, and Donovan Peoples-Jones is super inconsistent at this point in his career. So what are we depending on at that position? I would go more picks, double dip in the top 50. If you walk away here, like let's say you can't get Drake London, let's say you can't get Garrett Wilson, but if you walk away here and you get Christian Watson and a George Pickens or a Christian Watson, I'm keying in on Christian because I like Christian a lot, or Christian Watson and one of the Alabama wide receivers, or maybe Chris Olave. Like if you can get 2 of those dudes from that second tier of wide receivers, I think that's better for you in the long run. And look, we have 2 third-round picks. I think you can get a good D tackle at the 3rd round. But if you have 2 second-round picks also, let's get Perrion Winfrey. Let's do it. Let's trade back into the late first, get an extra second, and then have those 3 picks in the top 50. I would love that, right? Because you can get Perrion and you get 2 wide receivers, and boom. That's 3 problems solved. There we go. We good. We good on that front. That's what I would want to do. Now, if that trade's available, I don't know. I don't know how the GMs are thinking about it. But I know if somebody offers that, I'm taking it. So I'm hoping somebody falls in love with one of these quarterbacks and they're desperate enough to do something like that. Come on, Pittsburgh. Do it for Malik Willis. Come on, do it. I know you want to. Or Kenny Pickett. Come on. Just do us a favor for once in y'all lives. All right, the next question is from Almighty Kilo, who says, hey, do you think Baker should work on his pocket passing, since it seems like QBs with that ability have to do that at elite level seem to have longevity in the NFL? It would be great. Look, the thing with Baker is his feet have been inconsistent. This has been a thing for like 3 years with Baker, right? Now, there have been times where people have asked him about that, and he feels like there's not a problem. I would hope after this season he takes a hard look at that tape self-evaluates and goes, hey, there's some problems here, right? The shoulder was an issue, sure. But there's some problems there that are below the waist with my feet. I really do hope that they key in on that, especially because he can't really throw this during the offseason anyway. So why not work on the feet, right? Because the feet have been an issue. If you wonder why Baker's so inconsistent, just look at his feet. Every quarterback that's watched him, every scout that I trust that's watched him, always talks about how inconsistent his feet are. And why that is. You can look at somebody like the QB Film Room, ran by former NFL quarterback JT O'Sullivan. I had him on this channel before. And he talks about Baker's feet in some of the videos that he has with Baker Mayfield. So, yeah, the feet are an issue with Baker Mayfield. He needs to work on it. It's about whether he wants to and whether it's a fixable problem, right? We all assume that you could just fix these issues, right? But some guys can fix them. Some guys can't. And that is what it is. I hope he can, because if he does, we'll be a better team and we'll have a better quarterback. But, I can't sit here and guarantee those things. But the feet, they're an issue. Whether it's a fixable issue, we'll see. We'll see. Some guys, they can fix their feet and it ain't no problem. Other guys, they can't. The next question comes from Ralph, who says, what do you think of the whole Kyler Murray situation? Does he stay or does he go? Should the Browns pursue him? All right, let's talk about Kyler Murray. Now, I want to start this by saying I'm not one of these people who are like, oh, quarterback's starting to get too much control. I think Kyler Murray is well within his rights to want a contract. And look, if he's willing to sit out the whole season for that contract, good on him. Good on him. Good on him, because that is conviction to an ideal that a lot of people would not have, right? Because he's going to make a bunch of money this year if he does play. But if he says he don't want to play and he holds out the whole year, good on him. That's conviction. I got to rock with that at some point, right? So I don't have an issue with him wanting a new contract. Hell, I don't have an issue with him forcing his way to a new contract, right? If he feels like he has the leverage, use it, right? Like, people in that are not in position to run things, and players are not in position to run things, don't have leverage often. When you do, use it. I ain't gonna be mad at you. I would do the same thing, right, if I had leverage to get more out of my situation. Now, the issue with Kyler Murray's situation isn't what he wants. Ultimately, what he wants is reasonable for Kyler Murray. I don't know what the contract demands are, but honestly, it's hard to discern the truth in this kind of a situation, because the Cardinals are going to be lying to us and Kyler Murray's camp going to be lying to us. This is nothing but lies going out here. So I know there's been numbers leaked, but those numbers mean virtually nothing in a situation like this, because it's just misinformation from both sides. They're trying to muddy the waters. Now, where Kyler has gone wrong in this whole situation, in my opinion, is the execution of it. It's been fairly a passive-aggressive effort. And if I've learned one thing, passive-aggressive behavior does not ingrate you to sports fans at all. Sports fans do not like passive-aggressive behavior. And this whole thing has been petty with a capital P. And look, Browns fans, it make you feel better. There are a lot of teams having weird situations with the quarterbacks right now. So the Browns situation with Baker, it ain't even top 5 in what's going on around the league. Kyler Murray's, man, like, I don't know what they doing, what his camp is trying to accomplish. That letter was weird. It was really weird. Look, sometimes just you got to be simple, right? If you just want to tell Cardinals fans you don't want to go, just say, hey, look, we working on a new contract, don't trip. Like, that's all you got to say. You don't have to do this whole thing where you bring up that how terrible the Cardinals are. And I get it. The Cardinals are a bad franchise. They hired Cliff Kingsbury to coach football. That tells you that they're not good at their job. And I know Cliff Kingsbury fans are down here, but look how this man has ended every season of his career. It ain't never been good with Cliff Kingsbury. It's been like that for 10 years, and they hired him still. So I get it. The Cardinals are an uphill battle, but you can't say that publicly and then put yourself up front as the dude who resurrected the Cardinals. Like, whether that's true or not, you can't take credit for it. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, this is just a bad look. It's just a bad look. It would be better if you just let the misinformation fly and just force this contract situation and sat it out, right? Like, that would have been a better play than what they doing right now. Because honestly, look, as somebody who's not in the Cardinal situation, um, I ain't. I think this whole situation is hilarious. Now, as far as Kyler Murray, would I pursue him? I kick the tires on it. But look, I tell Kyler Murray right now, you gotta fire your agent if you come to the Browns because that man ain't doing you no favors, man. Like, just fire that man. If you don't fire that agent, I think you got bigger problems when it comes to decision making because this is some of the worst agentry I've ever seen in professional sports. Is how Kyler Murray's team has handled his contract situation. Like, this is some bad agentry. This is an agent that's trying to get a quick buck. So if Kyler wants to come to the Browns or come to somewhere else, I'm pretty sure people gonna be like, yo, you got to fire your agent though, because we ain't dealing with that. That dude's ridiculous. What are you trying to do? What was he trying to accomplish? Like, if you were trying to battle back some of the misinformation the Cardinals were putting out there, this was not the way to do it. This is something that a Kyler Murray fan account should have tweeted out, not the agent. It was ridiculous. It was really ridiculous how they handled it. Again, the demands, like, yeah, it's cool. Like, get a new contract. Like, I'm all for it. Like, get your worth. But, dog, like, have a better strategy than this. Like, because this is a bad strategy. And this kind of bad strategy going to mess up the bag for other people. The next question comes from Richard Robinson, who says, if Baker is playing bad next season, do you cut cord on him and let him be the backup or try him out at QB1, or do you ride with him through the bad seasons? Now, for the first 4 seasons of Baker's career, I've always been on the side of, hey, look, even if he's playing bad, you got to keep him out there. Because one, Case Keenum's been his backup the last year and a half, well, the last 2 years. And before that, he was like a second and first year quarterback. So keep him out there, right? This is not the year where if Baker starts playing like how he has the second half of this season, especially, you can't keep him out there. One, it's going to destroy the locker room just because if you keep sticking with people who are playing so bad on offense that it's hurting the whole team, that's just going to be a bad look for the locker room, whether it's quarterback, running back, anywhere, right? The whole idea with football is that if you play well, you can get on the field. And if somebody's not playing well and they refuse to take them off the field, that's just going to ruin the locker room no matter who that player is. So you have to be mindful of that, especially when Baker is not a guarantee to come back next year just because of his contract situation. So yeah, when it comes with that, if Baker's not playing well, they got to have a backup plan because he can't be out there if he's going to be bad next year. Like, if he's going to be good, he could be out there. Cool, whatever. Nobody's mad. But if he's going to be bad, and we know what bad is. Like, I'm not saying like he's average. If he's average or mediocre, whatever, like, he's going to probably be out there. But if he's bad, like touchdown interception ratio close to even or in the negative, yeah, he got to go. You can't let him play. You can't let him play. You got to have somebody else come in. That's the thing with Baker. We have to avoid that floor next year. We can't have another 20 interception, 20 touchdown season happen with the guy. Like, if he look like he's going to be like that, you got to get rid of it. The next question comes from Raymond, who says, do you think the Browns should go after Calvin Ridley? I'm on the side of no. No, I'm not interested in giving up assets for Calvin Ridley just because I think you can get a Calvin Ridley at 13 if you really wanted Calvin Ridley. And again, is Calvin Ridley going to solve the Browns' issues at wide receiver? I don't think so. I think you need more bodies. I don't think you need one body. Like, we're not one great wide receiver away. Maybe last year you would have been one great wide receiver away from having a really good room, but you ain't got that room no more. You need bodies. So I don't think Calvin Ridley going to solve the problem. To be honest with you, I think you need bodies. And again, I'd rather have Garrett Wilson instead of Calvin Ridley. I'd rather have Drake London instead of Calvin Ridley. I'd rather have a litany of other guys. Well, not rather, but I'd rather draft with my own picks without having to give up anything, some of the wide receivers in this draft, rather than giving up assets to get Calvin Ridley. Because I don't think he solves a problem. I think he is a part of a solution, but he doesn't solve the problem. I'm only giving up assets if I think you, like serious assets, like you would have to give up for Calvin Ridley, if I think you solve a problem, right? Russ Wilson, that solves a problem. I'm going to go and give up assets for that. Calvin Ridley, that is a part of a solution to a problem, but it ain't the solve, right? It ain't the answer. So that's really what I think on the whole Calvin Ridley thing. The Browns ain't in the place to really make that trade. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Again, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.